Hello everyone and welcome to this Video Sans Frontier video. My name is Jay Wakefield and what we're looking at today is a Compaq Armada 1590 series machine. Now, for those of you who regularly watch my channel, I'm going to tell you now that what we're looking at here is a Compaq Armada 1592DT. And you'll probably notice that the screen no longer has the annoying black splodges on it. There's a good reason for that, actually. What has happened is I've actually managed to get the screen... Well, what I did was I managed to get a hold of a 1550T, which had a working screen on it. Did have a couple of problems. The screen, for example, was showing just white. So what I did was I actually opened up the screen and took it off the laptop, took the front bezel off, and just the connection, the cable connections were actually mounted. They're actually mounted here rather than on the back of the screen. Like on a Dell Latitude's LCD panel. I'm not sure if the circuit board here is actually connected to the rear of the panel or not. Probably will be somehow. But anyway, long story short, I did actually manage to fix it. And I thought, well, instead of using parts from this machine, as I was going to have to get the 1550T configured to the way I like it, I thought, well, why not instead get this one going? So this is what I've done. As you can see, I didn't bother to kind of put the good screen into the 1592DT's lid. So this thinks it's a 1550T. That's but this is a 1592DT, so So anyway, I thought it would be quite fun actually, just to have a wee look at this, Windows ME installation before actually going ahead and putting a copy of Windows 95 on it, because do you know what I mean? This is a perfect example of some of the Windows installations of old that you see, you try and eke more life out of it, but you're not quite sure what's going on. So, the first thing I notice is, it's not too bad. There's nothing actually in the startup, nothing actually in the system tray, or as it's known now, the notification area. What I have noticed, though, straight away, was Norton Antivirus 2003 Professional Edition. And that's kind of plumbed in with Norton Internet Security. Okay, let's take the whole thing about Norton 2003 being a massive resource hog as read, okay? And, FreeServe, now that, oh wow, that brings back a lot of memories, so it does. FreeServe, oh. And this definitely brings back memories. Oh wow. I once had a, what was it, Norton, it was fantastic what it was. It was kind of a super master system worksy thing. It was amazing. It had everything, literally everything on it. Oh wow, this brings back a lot of memories, this does. Because I had Norton for a time on the 2001 custom built. My mum had got a copy of Norton System Works 2002. Auto protect is off, email scanning error, scripts blocking, full system scan. One was performed on the 21st of December 2002, so the winter solstice of 2002. Oh wow. Just try and think when the 21st was. So Christmas was Tuesday that year. Christmas Eve. No, wait a minute. No, it wasn't. It was Wednesday. What am I talking about? So yeah, Christmas Day was Wednesday that year. 24th was Tuesday. 23rd was Monday. 21st was the Saturday. Yeah, I seem to remember having a really trippy dream the night before that. Listen, my long-term memory is really good. It's my short-term that's a pile of rubbish. 21st of December 2002. Virus definitions were last updated 1st of November 2003. So this is obviously when I don't know, they might have just given up using this laptop and just thought, you know what? You know, it's time to go and get myself a shiny new Windows XP box. So AVG 6 had also been installed at some point, but I think someone might have actually just went and deleted it. I'm not going to look at any personal documents on this thing, because personal documents don't interest me as much as computer programs do. HP DeskJet 350 toolbox, nice. Print Artist, wonder which version. I will never know, because someone's uninstalled it by clicking delete. Classic Solitaire, Disk Cleanup, Free Cell, Reg Cleaner. Oh. And someone's obviously installed Office 97 on here. Norton Antivirus. Disabled startup items. Sierra Print Artist. GSP. Instant Address Book. Oh wow, Front Page Express. Now this tells me that this Windows ME installation was obviously upgraded. When I say upgraded, it was what I believe is they will have actually upgraded from a previous version of Windows. I'm going to guess Windows 95, because that's what this machine will have originally came with. As you can see, it is quite slow here. Please excuse me. Oh, come on. I'm gonna go for the large icons, I think. There we go. iAmiga Active Disk, so someone might have plugged in a zip drive. BD Administrator, which doesn't work. Active Disk, infrared support for Windows 95. iAmiga App Services, iAmiga I could plug my zip drive in should I want to do such a thing. So yeah, quite an interesting Windows ME installation, which has actually taken me for a trip down memory lane. Not that I ever had my computer as badly configured as that, but yeah. So I guess the best thing I can do now, because I've got a working floppy drive for this, out of the 1550T, I guess the best thing I can do now is to format on the grease. The 1550T has Norton Antivirus Corporate Edition on, which tells me if I you know, try to shut Windows down with a floppy disk in the drive. Oh, you're going to get a boot sector virus or something if you do that sort of behaviour. That's just no right, so isn't he? That's good. I want to boot with internal CD-ROM support, because I have this baby here. Samsung CD DVD ROM driver. Yes, I'm still using the Samsung drivers that came with my DVD-ROM drive, which I fitted to the 2001 custom built for my 15th birthday. Right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to F-disk in, see what partitions are there. This system does have the original diagnostics partition, so you know, we need to keep that. There it is. So all I really need to do, this is actually quite simple, and it's got a 3 GB hard disk in here, 3.2 actually. So it's quite a lot of disk space. It's quite a bit. It's a wee bit more than the 1590DT. 1590 actually sounds like the form, the 5090 that I think it's a 5090 that if the police stop you, and as a result of them stopping you, you're actually late for work. A 5090, or I think it's a 5090, is a record that you can actually, you know, it's a record of the police having stopped you that you can actually then submit to your superiors. I learned that on the Top Gear episode where they went racing across London during rush hour. So I want to actually format the C drive. I probably should do a full format because this thing's probably never actually been reformatted. So this is actually going to take a wee while. So what I'll do is I'll get my other disks ready. You know, so I'm ready to actually go ahead and install Windows 95. It's actually going along quite quickly there. So yeah, goodbye to the Windows ME installation. I've got to do. I admire people who can actually eke as much life out of a PC as possible. I mean, these Compaqs really were built to last because ultimately they are business machines, and the tri-spindle design makes them that bit more friendly. You know, you're not having to switch between, oh, do I need a CD drive or do I need a floppy drive? Oh, well, I buy a cable if I need both of them. Then I'll have things hanging out the machine. I mean, imagine that. I'm sorry, imagine that you had to actually do some work, save it to a floppy disk, but you needed access to a CD-ROM at the same time, and you were on an aeroplane. And don't tell me that it couldn't have happened, because it probably might have done in the 90s. You know, you're busy doing a report. You getting reference material from something like Microsoft Bookshelf or what have you, and you know, again, that's entirely possible. You know, and you've got stuff saved onto floppy disks, and the next thing you know, you put in a floppy drive which is on a leash, you know, connected to your laptop. You decided, right, okay, and put the floppy drive. Mind if I place this on your leg, passenger who's sat next to me? That can only go well. Whereas this probably might have been a bit too big to use on a plane. But if you could use it on a plane, it's there. Everything's in it. At least it's got a trackpad like most machines of the 90s, so it's not like the early machines that use graphical user interfaces where you'd have to trail a mouse up somebody's leg. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll cut the video here and then I'll be right back. So that's the hard drive wiped, and now what I'm doing is I'm actually copying all of the Windows 95 installation files to the system, which I generally do as a rule, so that you know, when I come to install particular things on it, I'm not actually fooling about waiting on you know, damn it, I've lost my words. I'm not fooling around, you know, with having to, you know, get the Windows 95 CD-ROM out. You know, just a bit of a pain sometimes, and you know, with certain programs, I mean, yeah, it can actually crash them because it's like, you know, it'll need to do something that requires a Windows 95 CD, and then, you know, and then while you're doing that, it'll be like, oh, the program CD's not here. Yeah, it's all down to, you know, pretty poor coding, is that? But Windows, I think it's what Publisher for Windows 95 does that. You know, you can install the, you know, virtual printer driver, which you actually, you know, which you actually need the Windows 95 CD to do. But of course, you should have the Publisher CD in because you're installing Publisher, and then the whole thing just kind of blue screens out. It's a bit poor. Anyway, right. So And then what I'm going to do, just going to set up. Just scan drive C, as it does. Taking a while, but okay. I wonder if it'll work with the 1590DT drivers. I wonder if I actually need the 1592 drivers. I think I'll have them though, if not, if I do need them. Although I think it should work because it's basically the same machine, just with a faster CPU and a USB port. And I do plan to install the USB drivers, because I like a full install. But we'll get to that in a wee bit. And that is something I will need the Windows 95 drivers for. Oh, I clicked the wrong flaming button there. That is annoying. That is really annoying. I'm not going to scan this hard disk again, because I've done it. So I'm going to use the IS switch. Unfortunately, the display stretching isn't as good as it could be now. In 1996-97, that wasn't actually too bad. Dell, however, you know, by about the time this machine was out, the CP had came out, and I think the CPI was about ready. And those, well, certainly the CPI could stretch the display without the distortion on the text, but I'm not too bothered actually, because overall, I think I would prefer something like this to the CPI overall, because shock horror. No, I do like the CPI very much. It's a brilliant machine, don't get me wrong, but there's just certain things, like the sound doesn't always, you know, the sound doesn't always work in DOS games. It's a bit of a pain. Okay, yeah, I'll type my name in. Yeah. Just let it find a what is it? Sound video game and multimedia devices, sound video, joystick, that sort of thing. But I don't want it to find a network card because there's none in here. This will take a while. So what I think I'll do is I'll come back once Windows 95 has actually installed itself. So here we have a nice fresh install of Windows 95 OSR2. No drivers, but they will be added. First, however, time to add USB support for the one USB port that's on the side of this machine. Of course, Windows 95 OSR2 came out, you know, and with some fanfare they did announce USB support. In fact, it even says so on the original Windows 95 OSR2 install CD. But you actually have to install this separately. It doesn't actually come with it pre-installed, even if you do a full Windows 95 installation as I've done here. So, the way to do it is to load up, insert the Windows 95 B CD-ROM, open it up in my computer, go to Other, and well, I thought it was Other. Drivers, data link, auto run, admin. Could be drivers, is it? It's UPS. Where is it? Seriously, come on. James, I don't even know where USB is here. This isn't good. Something Windows 95, data link, demos, help, fun stuff. Nope. Drivers, UPS. We haven't got the right disk in. That would actually help. Let's make sure I'm using the right disk, which I'm pretty sure I am. It always says that the CD-ROM is for an older version of Windows than the one you're using. And this is Windows 95B. I installed it off this disk. So, yes. Other drivers, fun stuff. I've already been there. I'll be back again. Okay, so I have another Windows 95 CD. I do like to keep backups. This one actually says with USB support on it. This is actually a Windows 95C CD-ROMs, but it should still go. Now, it should still work for what I want. OSR 2.5. Updates. USB. Here we go. So it's USB up. Microsoft USB supplement. So for some reason it likes to run ScanDisk, which shouldn't necessarily be a problem, as like I said, this is a fresh install of Windows 95. There should be nothing running apart from all those My Computer windows that's just a bit untidy, if I'm honest, but ScanDisk from within Windows is a bit annoying because it likes to restart if it loses its track. It's a bit like me. If I lose track of what I'm doing, it's like, oh, that's my play, I'm going to have to restart. So when Windows ME, in its relentless search to try and hide DOS from all bits of Windows ME, even though we all know it still ran on top of DOS, was still a hybrid 1632-bit kernel. Instead of running ScanDisk from within DOS, which is sensible, it can actually run, it doesn't have to worry about anything, it does it in real mode. If you fail to shut down your computer, it likes to run ScanDisk from within Windows. It's always losing its place, even though there's nothing else started, and it was just annoying. That was one of the worst bits about Windows ME. Just an example of how Microsoft didn't really, kind of take notice of what they were trying to design. Having said that, I have had good experiences with ME. But yep, now we have, now the computer's actually picking up the USB port, as we can see. Now, Windows 95 USB support was not anywhere near as good as we would have probably liked it to have been. But it can actually support, certain USB devices. You can, iOmega actually allows you to connect to a zip drive via USB to Windows 95, for example, and certain other hardware devices. You can get Windows 95 USB drivers for it, and believe it or not, if you go to toastytech.com, Nathan Lineback will even provide you with a Windows 95 mass storage USB device driver. Or to put it in layman's terms, you can actually install Windows 95. You can actually use your flash disk for them within Windows 95, which is pretty good. Okay, so as usual, I've had to actually enable the PC card slots. I don't know why Windows 95 insists on disabling them. It's very annoying. And I can understand it restarting the machines, but I mean, it thinks, it thinks that I need to actually shut down the machine and actually install them. It's a laptop. If the if the PC card slots aren't installed, usually they're soldered onto the motherboard. If I've not installed them yet, chances are I'm not going to install any. How would I connect them? USB? Parallel port PC card slots? I don't think so. I don't think it would work that well. Right, let's have a look actually. Let's see now what else we have here. So yep, it's installed the wrong sound card driver, but I can actually fix that. So that is what I plan to do now. I'm just going to go ahead now and install all the drivers. So because this computer is newer than the 1590DT, what I have decided is that I would like to go for what I would like to call an early 98 configuration as far as software is concerned for this system. When I say early 98, I don't mean Windows 98 First Edition with bits of older software or what have you. What I actually mean is, I'd like to install software that you might have actually thrown on your computer if you're buying new software at that time. Software from around, let's say, February-ish 1998. Of course, this would probably mean Windows 95 OS R2. Bits of software like that, really, I would say. Of course, that also means the Active Desktop Update will be installed. However, I will install Microsoft Internet Explorer 5 on top of IE4 because it just makes everything a wee bit more stable. To be honest, IE4 wasn't necessarily the world's best web browser. It did have quite a lot of problems, as did Windows 98 First Edition. But, when IE5 came out in 1999 and Windows 98 Second Edition, it kind of seemed to iron all the wee teething problems out. But Active Desktop Update does bring quite a few conveniences to Windows 95. You get things like the Quick Launch toolbar. You get address bars for My Computer and Windows Explorer windows. So it's easier to actually navigate to different folders, because you can just type in the path if you know it. It's, I do find that sort of thing especially useful. And it just, like I said, it just makes the computer that bit easier to use. Obviously, on some of my Windows 95 machines, I'll never put Active Desktop Update on it because it'll kind of bog it down. But this, being a 233 MHz Pentium, should take it just fine. Of course, the Compaq Armada 1592DT. That is a system from 1998. That has Windows 95 OS R2 on it, and that came with the IE4 and the Active Desktop Update. That came with IE 4.0. This is having Internet Explorer 4.01 installed on it, which is a slightly newer revision, and just again that bit better. Internet Explorer 4 comes with something called the Internet Explorer channel bar. Now, if you're not sure what that is, basically the idea was that your desktop was supposed to be interactive and you were supposed to be able to get, you were supposed to be able to get useful information streamed to your desktop over the internet. So the idea was you'd have your weather forecast there, you'd have things like news, stock things, things like that. And Well, it seemed like a good idea, but there was two problems. First of all, active desktop would use up a lot of computer memory. Not necessarily the best thing in the world. But more than that, because a lot of us were still on dial-up internet, the active desktop, to use it to its fullest potential, really needed an always-on internet connection, which dial-up doesn't provide. You know, even if you had unlimited internet, which in 1998 a lot of us didn't, you'd be tying up the phone line. So it's really... It was really kind of pitched towards... It was really kind of pitched towards a market that just wasn't ready for it. It was a wee bit ahead of its time. I mean, of course, now I would say the closest thing that we now have to active desktop is the new start screen in Windows 8, which does stream things using active tiles. You know, so you'll get a weather forecast, you'll get bits of news, you get things like that. So the Windows 8 start screen is kind of like the active desktop. A lot of people didn't necessarily like how everything became all webby, and one of the most outspoken people towards that was, of course, Nathan Lineback. He didn't like the webification, if you will. Well, probably not even his word, but he didn't kind of like how everything was just becoming a big web page, and to be honest, Windows 8 is... well, that's not necessarily improved on things much. I mean, it's all just... yeah. I mean, the Windows 8 program, the Windows 8 apps, you know, for the new user interface, just a wee bit of wind and water, really. I'm a bit old-fashioned. I like my programs to have a .exe extension or .com. Not .com as in the web page. I mean .com as in command. Alright, so now we have the active desktop installed. As you can see, we've got the quick launch bar here. Makes the whole thing look and feel a wee bit more like Windows 98. And look at our channel bar. So the idea, like I said, of this, that you'd click on things and take you directly to the websites. So the BBC. The older versions of IE4 actually had the BBC logo, the older BBC logo. BBC kind of changed their logo in 1998, so when the newer revision of Internet Explorer 4 came out, this is what you got. If you have the... oh, look, and there's Sky. Welcome to the world of Sky, the non-stop sports, news and entertainment channel online. And then it would start up IE in full screen, and obviously, because I'm not connected to the internet, it naturally gives you a wee thing about welcome to active channels. The whole kind of full screen web type thing, I would say that this is probably, the whole active desktop portion is probably it trying to be Windows 98, if you will. It really, well, obviously it was trying to be Windows 98, but Windows 8, it does have that kind of same vibe about it, really, thinking about it. Welcome to Active Channels. Active Channels are websites specifically designed for Internet Explorer 4.0. These sites use new features of Internet Explorer to bring you a faster and more exciting web experience. And we're not even talking about Web 2.0 here. This is about 8-9 years before Web 2.0 even became a thing. Active channels are designed so you can view them even when you're not connected to the internet. For example, you can easily set up your favourite active channels to be downloaded to your computer at night, so you can browse them the next morning or while you travel. I'm sorry, most of us would switch off our computer at night. And I think a lot of us would have been a wee bit mortified had our computer suddenly taken it upon itself to actually suddenly dial out to the internet when it chose. I mean, no. I didn't even think that one through at all. One thing I did like, though, was the edit button that you had in Internet Explorer. Edit. That kind of gave you delusions of grandeur, in my opinion. Oh, come on. Hold on a minute. As I was saying, yeah. Delusions of grandeur with an edit button. Because you'd click on that, you'd be like, oh, I can edit websites. Check this out. And of course, you'd go and click on the edit button, as you do. And then the file does not have a program associated with it. Oh. Well, that's nice. I'm pretty sure Front Page Express is installed on here. In fact, I know it to be installed. But chances are you'd actually, you know, if you clicked on a website, you'd load it in Front Page Express, it'd look completely ugly because of all the placeholders and what have you. You'd start typing a load of guff in, you'd save it, you'd try and publish it, but because of course you're not the owner of the website and the domain and don't have username and password, that's where it all goes a bit wrong. However, you can use Front Page Express to author your own websites, and in theory use the web publishing wizard to publish it all online. Very nice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to install IE5. And another difference between IE 4.0 and 4.01 is 4.01 introduces some new icons. A blue E overlapping a wee bit of paper rather than a bit of paper with a picture of the earth on it. A yellow piece of paper with a picture of the earth on it. And the fact that the old icon was kind of light yellow and the new ones are white, it actually even gives the old icons a physical appearance of being old. There's that. On the Outlook Express icon looked a bit different. It was a picture of the... I think it was a picture of the Earth with an envelope in front of it. But then for Internet Explorer 4.01, you got Outlook Express. It was a blue E with an envelope, which is very nice, except it's going to change again. So this brings me back. I was totally obsessed with this as a lad, as a teenager. So now I'm installing Internet Explorer 5. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm installing Internet Explorer 5.5, the last supported version of Internet Explorer for Windows 95, which came out in the summer of 2000. Internet Explorer 6, which came with XP, came out for Windows 98, Windows 2000 and Windows ME. And those were the last supported versions on those operating systems. Internet Explorer 6.0 with, I think, Service Pack 1. And those would actually give you the Internet Explorer 6 and Outlook Express 6 icons, which were very kind of Windows XP-ified. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to let this install. Okay, so here we are. Now I've just installed IE5. I didn't realise I didn't have the camera on. I was actually going to show you something. I was actually going to show you how tightly integrated Internet Explorer was into Windows 95. I'll see if I can try and explain it anyway. Well, not necessarily Windows 95, but certainly Windows 95 with Active Desktop, Windows 98, 98 SE, 2000 and ME, and I guess Windows XP as well. It was very tightly integrated into how the Windows Explorer interface actually worked. So with IE4, I complained of a stubby, well, not necessarily stubby, but a long, thin start menu that looked a wee bit untidy. Now that I've installed Internet Explorer 5, the start menu looks a wee bit better. And yes, I have a My Documents option. That came with Internet Explorer 4.01, not with 4.0. You got a nice My Documents shortcut, which I must admit I quite like. Now, also, with Internet Explorer 4.0 installed, these buttons would have just went off the screen and there'd be no way to access them without actually maximising the window. IE5 gives you this nice, tidy, wee drop-down menu with all the buttons it can't display. The links bar would have had arrows, you could send it, so if to look at the links toward off the right edge of the screen, you'd have clicked the right arrow, and then to look back at the links off of the left edge of the screen, you'd have clicked the left arrow. Now you have another tidy wee drop-down menu which does it again for you. So that shows how much Microsoft Internet Explorer tightly integrated itself into Microsoft Windows. Also, Internet Explorer 4 and above, with Windows versions from Windows 95 through XP, Windows 95 with Active Desktop through Windows XP, some of the programs actually have a very nasty habit of forgetting, when you've got a certain amount of programs installed, they have a nasty habit of forgetting to alphabetize. And then you've got you've got you end up with a really untidy looking start menu instead of having it organised with program groups above actual icons, and then you've got to, in IE4 there was really not very much you can do about that, but with IE5 you do actually get an option to sort by name. If you right click on the programs submenu of the start menu. And I know this is very geeky, but these are just things that I've noticed through all my years of using computers. So what I'm going to do now that I've got Internet Explorer fully installed, I'm actually going to use... No, I'm not. No, I'm actually going to install a few things. Oh, and look what else. You could do this without the Active Desktop, but Windows Active Desktop, by default, in Windows 95 and 98, 2000 ME, and any other version of Windows above that, it actually sets it so that folders all open in the same window. Whereas with Windows, before the Active Desktop update, folders would open in new windows. On NT4, when you install the Active Desktop update, it doesn't do that. It just still opens everything in different windows. But of course, like I said, you can reset it so all folders open in the same window. Anyway, what I'm going to install Compaq Diagnostics for Windows. I also remember you'd have a pop sound when a web page was loading. So I remember browsing the internet on... I remember actually browsing the internet on systems with Windows 95 and with the Active Desktop update. You'd be browsing away and it'd be like click pop. Didn't do that after 98. Although the pop sound, I believe, was still there if you wanted it. don't worry about that. That happens. And now, because I have really been struggling with the small white mouse pointer, and yes, I actually have, I'm actually going to go ahead and install, well, I'm actually going to answer that Facebook message, but before I do that, I'm actually going to go ahead and install some, the alternative mouse pointers. You can get this, altpnt.exe, you can get this from Microsoft's website, and other places on the internet. And this, I mean, while you do get large white mouse pointer in Windows 95, you don't get the large black mouse pointer. So this is good if you use Windows 95 or NT4, and you want a selection of more accessible mouse pointers. This it really is a good thing to have. So if we do this, we're going to Windows 95, blah, blah, blah. Actually, while I'm here, I might slow down the acceleration a wee bit. Just pointers, motion, yep. This. There we go. So there you have it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go ahead and install all the rest of my programs off camera, and I'll come back to you once the machine's configured, and then we'll have some fun. Bad news! It seems that this machine is letting go. Yes, I got the screen to go, and the screen is absolutely fine in DOS, in safe mode, in Windows, in safe mode, sorry, but there is a slight issue. First off, note please how stable the screen is right now. That's absolutely fine, you know. It's acting perfectly stable. Right? And it's still kind of acting stable. But it'll work now. Just you watch, it'll work. But now look. Not sure you'll catch it on camera, but it's jumping around. The screen is actually literally jumping round. It's jumping around like a kid who's had too many blue Smarties. It shouldn't be doing that. And Windows wouldn't start properly, you know, I had problems with the USB support drivers. Sometimes it'd go, and then if I tried going into safe mode, it'd say files are missing, but then sometimes it would go into safe mode, which is awful. I mean, it sounds like software issues, but the fact that sometimes it will, sometimes it won't, it's more kind of a hardware issue. So, I've decided to put the 1550T back together, which means I will be going for a more kind of mid-90s approach rather than a late 90s approach. It is a bit of a shame, but I'm going to keep this machine around for spares, because there are things on it that work, like the keyboard, like the floppy drive. Actually, no, the floppy drive's going in the 1550, because that's where it came from. Now here's something, the 1550T is only a dual spindle machine. But you might notice, it's pretty much exactly the same chassis as the 1590 and the 1592. But have a look here. There's no CD-ROM drive. But if we have a look on the 1592, if I can, there is a CD-ROM drive. Here is a blanking plate. Now that, actually, if you remove that, it's like some sort of travel light module that's in there. So we can actually remove this and install a CD-ROM drive. This is the first laptop I've ever seen where you can actually upgrade it by installing a CD drive. And I'm not talking about dual spindle machines that have a multi-bay. I mean actually adding a CD-ROM drive to a laptop that has a floppy drive in it. I mean, how good is that? And the screen's going to go back on the 1550. So that's what I'm going to do. Like I said, I'm going to keep a hold of this. I'm going to junk that screen because it doesn't work. And yeah, we'll see how it all kind of goes. But this has been the video nonetheless of the 1592 and my journey to put it back to Windows 95. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. If you like what we do, also please feel free to like my page on Facebook. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me for my next video.